The future of California's gig economy and Prop 22 is now up to the California State Supreme Court. The law, which voters approved in 2020, classifies Uber and Lyft drivers as contractors instead of employees. Opponents say the law needs to change. ABC 7 News reporter Suzanne Phan is in the newsroom with what happened during today's hearing. Suzanne?
So, Dan, about 1 million people are impacted by Prop 22. The state Supreme Court is now deciding whether Prop 22 is constitutional. Labor unions and some drivers say it is not. What the state Supreme Court decides could change how companies like Uber and Lyft operate.
Well, I drive for Lyft. I've been doing it for 10 years.
Lyft driver Jason Munderloh of San Francisco says Prop 22 needs to change.
I think Prop 22 is unconstitutional. We need real rights as gig workers.
That law says Munderloh and other app-based drivers are contractors, not employees. Munderloh says he's denied important worker compensation benefits.
Prop 22 doesn't offer us overtime, doesn't offer us health care. It doesn't offer us many of the things that we need as workers. Living in San Francisco, you need a reasonable living wage, and we're denied that under Prop 22.
Today is only day one.
More than 200 gig workers rallied outside the state Supreme Court today in San Francisco.
Prop 22 created a law so that gig companies could make money at the expense and exploitation of gig drivers.
If the court is going to decide this case on the premise that the legislature could restore the app drivers to the workers' compensation system.
Today, the California Supreme Court heard oral arguments in a lawsuit by the Service Employees International Union, SEIU, and 4 drivers. They say Prop 22 is unconstitutional. The executive vice president of SEIU says it's important to secure basic legal protections for gig workers across the country and reverse more than a decade of exploitation. The state Supreme Court justices listened to an hour of testimony asking difficult questions, but they did not say how they would rule on Prop 22. Professor John Logan teaches about labor and employment at San Francisco State University.
Prop 22 is really going to decide whether or not many gig workers are employees or whether or not they're independent contractors, and it will have national significance. Everyone is watching what the California Supreme Court will decide and whether or not these companies have the right to classify their workers as independent contractors.
And Uber hopes the state Supreme Court will uphold Prop 22. It states that forced employment would be devastating for thousands of drivers and couriers who turn to Uber for flexible work. Now, Uber also says millions of Californians would see major service reductions and cost increases. The state Supreme Court will issue a ruling on the case within 3 months. Live in the newsroom, Suzanne Phan, ABC 7 News.